Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine, and today we're talking about something very serious.
Very serious. Today we're talking about capital punishment.
So, if you've never heard that phrase before, you might have heard another name for this topic. It's called the death penalty.
Right. So, if you commit a crime, and basically the judge says that you will have to be put to death for that crime.
All right, so many countries no longer have this law. The United States, you can see it in some places, some states, but not in others. So what we're talking about today is the debate between to have the death penalty and to not have it.
All right, so we're going to actually have a little debate in the end of if we agree that we should have the death penalty or not. But before that, why don't we listen to this dialogue for the first time?
That's all for today's class. We will continue our lecture on crime and punishment tomorrow.
Do you think we should be tougher on crime?
Well, it depends on what you mean.
For example, we could bring back the death penalty for murder, give longer prison sentences for lesser offenses, and lock up juvenile offenders.
Those sound like really draconian measures. Firstly, what do you do about miscarriages of justice if you've already put innocent people to death?
You'd only use capital punishment if you were absolutely sure that you convicted the right person.
But there have been many cases of wrongful conviction where people have been imprisoned for many years. The authorities were sure at the time, but later it was shown that the evidence was unreliable. In some cases, it had been fabricated by the police.
Well, no system of justice can be perfect, but surely there's a good case for longer prison sentences to deter serious crime.
I doubt whether they could act as an effective deterrent while the detection rate is so low. The best way to prevent crime is to convince people who commit it that they're going to be caught. It doesn't make sense to divert all your resources into the prison system.
But if you detect more crimes, you'll still need prisons. In my reckoning, if we could lock up more juvenile criminals, they'd learn that they can't get away with it. Soft sentences will merely encourage them to do it again.
Yes, but remember that prisons are often schools for criminals. To remove crime from society, you really have to tackle its causes.
Well, if I were president, I would impose tougher laws and punishment. I would have a peaceful society based on fear of punishment, not consciousness of doing the right thing.
You sound like a dictator.
Well, if it works, why not? All right, so Marco, there's a lot of really great legal terms here, legal and crime terms. And so let's look at a few of these in today's language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so let's take a look at the first one. They mentioned juvenile offenders.
All right, so let's look at these two words because, offender can be pretty general. It's someone who commits a crime. Mm-hmm. So an offender. But we're talking about a special kind of offender. Here we're talking about juvenile offenders.
Mm-hmm. So they're young offenders.
Right. And in America, legally, you're a juvenile offender if you're under the age of 18.
Okay, so if you commit a crime while you are a juvenile, you get judged differently, right? You don't get the same treatment as an adult.
Right. Usually, the punishments are not as harsh because people like to think that younger people, younger children or teenagers, they don't really understand the law. They don't really understand crime or good and bad. So it should be easier on them.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. So we have juvenile offenders, and we also have wrongful conviction.
All right, this is an uh-oh moment for a judge because a wrongful conviction, well, conviction, first of all, is a decision. So this is a court's decision on whether or not a person is guilty.
So you convicted the person.
Right. Marco was convicted guilty of stealing my computer.
I was too. That happened.
Okay. Right. But it's a wrongful conviction if Marco didn't really steal the computer, but we decided that he did.
Okay. So it was a wrong decision.
Right. It was a bad decision in the sense that it's actually not what happened in reality.
Mm-hmm. A wrongful conviction. Very good. And actually related to a wrongful conviction, many times it happens because evidence is fabricated by the police.
All right. So this is a big no-no. This is something that really shouldn't happen, and it's against the law in many countries. So fabrication, or to fabricate, is to fake, to make something up. Mm-hmm. And so evidence that's fabricated is evidence that the police or other people create to try and make someone look guilty, but it's not actually evidence. It's not really...
It's not true.
It's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
And now moving on, they were talking about a deterrent for crime.
Okay, so to deter is a verb. To deter means to try and get someone to not do something. All right. So I'm going to try and deter my staff from taking early lunch breaks. So I'm
Okay.
going to punish someone as a deterrent.
As a deterrent. Okay, so you have the verb deter and you have the noun a deterrent.
Right. Yeah. And so oftentimes very strict laws are meant to be deterrents. They're meant to keep people from doing bad things, from breaking the law.
All right, so for example, capital punishment is one of those deterrents. If you kill somebody, then if you get caught, you are also going to be killed.
So that means I'm never going to kill anyone because I don't want the law to decide that I'm going to get killed.
Exactly. And our last word for today, they were talking about imposing tougher laws. I would impose tougher laws.
Okay, so to impose is a verb that means to put in place or to set up or enact. And so
But by force, right? You don't really agree to do it.
like the dictator imposes his will. All right, so he makes everyone do what he wants. But we can impose measures that do something. It's kind of like forcibly making people follow some kind of rule or follow a person.
Now, sometimes you would see that you have a company or you have people at your house and they're like, well, stay over for dinner. And they're like, oh, I wouldn't want to impose.
All right, so I wouldn't want to bother you or I wouldn't want to create more work for you because, when you're making food, you have all these people, they don't want to impose on you.
All right, so that's another way of using this, impose on somebody. All right, so after all of these words that we've taken a look at, why don't we start now with Fluency Builder?
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so as you know, Fluency Builder is a place where you get to talk about some phrases and words that allow you to be more fluent in English. So these are sometimes idioms or sometimes phrases, words that go together commonly. And the first one is no exception. It's a miscarriage. So miscarriage of justice.
All right, a miscarriage of justice. Now we have different words here. The first one, miscarriage, it's usually related to a medical term.
Right, it's a pregnancy. Well, it's a pregnancy that has a sad result. It's a pregnancy where the woman's baby dies or the woman loses the baby. And a miscarriage of justice is a metaphor. It's a way to say that justice was not carried out. It means that, for example, with those wrongful convictions, the law failed.
To accomplish its objective.
Yeah, to accomplish its objective and to be fair.
Okay, so a miscarriage of justice. Interesting. And moving on to our next phrase, they were talking and discussing this whole death penalty situation, and she mentioned, in my reckoning.
All right, so this is a great way to share your opinion or your idea with someone. You're saying pretty much, in my opinion, according to me, or, the way I'm thinking is this.
So I can also say, I reckon, right?
Exactly. I reckon it's going to rain later. I think it's going to rain. So in my reckoning, in my opinion.
All right, I reckon. And to finish off Fluency Builder, they said that the person or the criminal couldn't get away with it.
All right, so this is another one of those phrases that each word maybe means something different. You can get somewhere, but put together, to get away with something means to do something bad or illegal or that's not okay without getting caught.
Or being punished.
So
So you can say, get away with murder.
he got away with murder. He did something that was really, really bad, but no one caught him.
And also it means the criminal got away, so they couldn't catch him.
Right, or I could always say to my brother, he would always lie to my parents and get away with it. So that he never got caught. He never got punished.
Okay, so he got away with his lie or got his way.
Right.
All right, so I think this is an interesting phrase. Why don't we listen to a couple of more examples?
Example 1.
Do you think we could get away with using the cheaper product?
Example 2.
Thieves got away with 2 Picassos, which were never found.
Example 3.
He almost got away with murder. Unfortunately for him, the police discovered his secret.
So we've taken a look at a lot of great phrases. Why don't we listen to our dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back.
That's all for today's class. We will continue our lecture on crime and punishment tomorrow.
Do you think we should be tougher on crime?
Well, it depends on what you mean.
For example, we could bring back the death penalty for murder, give longer prison sentences for lesser offenses, and lock up juvenile offenders.
Those sound like really draconian measures. Firstly, what do you do about miscarriages of justice if you've already put innocent people to death?
You'd only use capital punishment if you were absolutely sure that you convicted the right person.
But there have been many cases of wrongful conviction where people have been imprisoned for many years. The authorities were sure at the time, but later it was shown that the evidence was unreliable. In some cases, it had been fabricated by the police.
Well, no system of justice can be perfect, but surely there's a good case for longer prison sentences to deter serious crime.
I doubt whether they could act as an effective deterrent while the detection rate is so low. The best way to prevent crime is to convince people who commit it that they're going to be caught. It doesn't make sense to divert all your resources into the prison system.
But if you detect more crimes, you'll still need prisons. In my reckoning, if we could lock up more juvenile criminals, they'd learn that they can't get away with it. Soft sentences will merely encourage them to do it again.
Yes, but remember that prisons are often schools for criminals. To remove crime from society, you really have to tackle its causes.
Well, if I were president, I would impose tougher laws and punishment. I would have a peaceful society based on fear of punishment, not consciousness of doing the right thing.
You sound like a dictator.
Well, if it works, why not?
All right, so now the big question, Catherine. Do you agree with the death penalty?
Oh, this is a big one, and I don't think we have enough time to go into it in much detail here, but I definitely think that is extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have this phrase, draconian measures.
Right,
and I
they
think,
mentioned that in the dialogue.
yeah, so draconian, something that's draconian is excessive or severe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are a lot of reasons not to have the death penalty, because the death penalty, well, you're pretty much saying, we as a society think that murder is wrong, but we're going to show you that you've done a wrong thing, like a bad thing that's against the law, by killing you. Mm-hmm. All right, and so I have to disagree with that on a philosophical level.
Mm-hmm. But what about practical?
Practically speaking, I think that there are a lot of problems with the prison system and the legal system in the United States, for example, because prisons are really crowded. 1% of the American population is in prison. And so I think that so long as the prison system still has problems, there's a really good argument for having the death penalty. But still, I think that it's excessive and it's unnecessary and that there are other ways to treat and punish prisoners.
It is an interesting topic because you have many different angles that are in favor or against the death penalty. For example, you have religious views where you say that you should not take a life of another person no matter what. Or you have other views that say that the death penalty is simply wrong and that you can't right a wrong with another wrong.
Right? Exactly.
So it kind of doesn't make sense. But at the same time, you do, like you say, the prisons are full of people and it costs around, I think it's $12,000 a year per person to keep them in prison. So what do you do with all of these people that have life sentences that are going to spend the rest of their lives in jail? So it is interesting. And many countries are very, very strict with their legal system in comparison with the United States, right?
Definitely, but there is a statistic that's pretty stunning that I think among the top 20 developed nations in the world, I think only the United States is the one with the death penalty.
Exactly. And actually the ratio of people compared to the population that are in jail is much higher in the United States than in other countries.
That's true.
So it is a very questionable topic, but we want to know what you think. Do you think that the death penalty is a justifiable way to do justice? Or do you think maybe it's just wrong and we shouldn't have it anymore?
Yeah, we're hoping that this will get the conversation going on our website. If you have any opinions, please let us know about them. Englishpod.com is the website. And of course, you can always email us or send us a PM if you're a little bit shy.
All right, so we'll see you guys there.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. The punishment of death.
Death penalty.
The act of changing the direction or use of something.
Diversion.
The amount of time to keep criminals in jail.
Prison sentence.
Expecting or requiring people to obey rules or laws.
Authoritarian.
Underage criminals.
Juvenile offender.
An issue that causes disagreement between people and causes them to separate into different groups.
Divisive topic.
Very strict and severe.
Draconian.
A person who continues to commit crimes even after being caught and punished.
Recidivist.
An unjust legal decision.
Miscarriage of justice.
To teach a criminal in prison to live a normal and productive life.
Rehabilitate.
Punishment of death.
Capital punishment.
To make something up to trick people.
Fabricate.
Something that prevents people from doing something.
Deterrent.
To move resources from one thing to another.
Divert.
Someone who rules with absolute power.
Dictator.
Let's try that faster.
To make something up to trick people.
Fabricate.
Very strict and severe.
Draconian.
An unjust legal decision.
Miscarriage of justice.
Underage criminals.
Juvenile offender.
The punishment of death.
Death penalty.
The amount of time to keep criminals in jail.
Prison sentence.
Someone who rules with absolute power.
Dictator.
An issue that causes disagreement between people and causes them to separate into different groups.
Divisive topic.
Expecting or requiring people to obey rules or laws.
Authoritarian.
Punishment of death.
Capital punishment.
The act of changing the direction or use of something.
Diversion.
To teach a criminal in prison to live a normal and productive life.
Rehabilitate.
Something that prevents people from doing something.
Deterrent.
To move resources from one thing to another.
Divert.
A person who continues to commit crimes even after being caught and punished.
Recidivist.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Death penalty. Many religious groups object to the death penalty. Death penalty. The death penalty is one of the most divisive topics in America. Death penalty. Statistics about the effectiveness of the death penalty in crime deterrence are often conflicting. Draconian. Some small American towns are enacting draconian laws against dancing. Draconian.
The word draconian comes from an ancient Greek lawyer under whom small offenses had heavy punishments. Draconian. In places with draconian laws, there may be law and order, but there is no personal freedom. Fabricate. The boy fabricated the entire story. There was no wolf at all. Fabricate. The factory can fabricate almost any textile. Fabricate. New studies have found that even DNA evidence can be easily fabricated. Deterrent. Bike locks are good theft deterrents. Deterrent. Many studies have proven that long jail sentences are not an effective crime deterrent. Deterrent. When traveling in these mountains, we recommend carrying a long stick to deter mountain lion attacks. Divert. The government will divert future revenue into paying off the national debt. Divert. Beaver dams can divert an entire river. Divert. One thief diverted the victim's attention while the other thief stole his wallet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have a very, very useful intermediate level lesson for you all about the weather.
That's right. So obviously we have seen the news, and sometimes on the news we have the weather report. So today we're going to learn all about that weather report in English.
So let's check out today's dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment to talk about the words and phrases that those weather forecasters used.
And those are today's top stories. Now let's go to John for the weather. John, what does the forecast look like for our weekend travelers?
I'm afraid we're in for a rough weekend, Mary. There's a storm system moving through the East Coast. It will be drizzling all day today, and there's a 60% chance of thunderstorms this evening. It will be warm and humid all weekend. In the Midwest, expect strong winds and a low of around 40 degrees.
That's pretty chilly for the summer. Will it rain on Saturday?
Unfortunately, yes. It will be clear early Saturday morning, but there is a high chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the day. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for some parts of the southeast. Folks in those areas might see some hail and flooding, especially in areas that have been experiencing record-high rainfalls.
That certainly sounds like a dreary Saturday.
It gets better on Sunday, though. The storm systems move east and the skies will clear up at night. It will still be rather cool with highs in the low 50s. The west coast will be experiencing some unusually chilly weather, but at least the sun will come out. I advise weekend travelers to be careful, especially while driving. Back to you, Mary.
Thanks, John. And there you have it. Looks like it's a weekend to stay at home.
All right, we're back. So apparently they're not going to have great weather this weekend, and they actually started with an interesting word. And actually the commentator started with asking the weatherman, John, what does the forecast look like for our weekend?
Okay, so the word here, forecast, is very, very important because it describes this part of the newscast. A forecast is basically a prediction or a description of the future weather situation.
That's right. So we're talking about the weather forecast. Now it's very interesting because we can also use that in business. For example, in budgets, you can say what is the financial forecast of the company.
All right, so you can't know what will happen, but you can predict it, and that's what a forecast is.
That's right. So we're talking about the weather forecast, and the weatherman said that, well, there's some storms coming, and it will be drizzling all day.
Okay, so to drizzle is a verb, and it's like the verb to rain, except it's less by degree. So
it's very light rain.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I spray you with water from a spray can or something. It's like drizzle. It's just little dots of water. It's
That's
not
right.
like you're getting wet.
You don't really have the normal heavy raindrops. You just have a little bit of water coming down.
But it's annoying because do you bring your umbrella? Do you leave your umbrella? So drizzling is a kind of rain that's very, very light.
That's right. All right, so it's going to drizzle all day. And the weatherman also said that we might have some thunderstorms.
Okay, so thunderstorms are very different. Thunderstorms are a kind of storm where there is thunder. So thunder is the loud noises when there's lightning.
The lightning, okay. So lightning is like the flash that you get from the sky, and thunder is the hard sound that comes after.
The boom.
That's right.
Yeah, so remember, lightning. Light is the light that comes down from the sky, lightning. And thunderstorms are just those loud noises that the lightning makes.
So usually with thunderstorms, we have very heavy rain.
That's right. And that's why it's different from drizzling, which is very light.
Okay. Now we're talking about water. We have drizzle, we have thunderstorm. Now what about a shower? Because the weatherman said there is a high chance of showers.
Well, yes, there's a high chance of showers. I take showers every day. Thank you very much. But that's not the kind of shower we're talking about here, is it?
That's right.
Think about it, though. It's similar. A shower, when you wash yourself, is water coming down on top of you. Well, in this case, it's a rain shower. So it's rain that's happening.
Okay, so it's rainwater that's coming down, very similar to the shower that you take in the morning.
The difference, though, is that a shower is a noun and to rain is a verb. So it will rain tomorrow, or we expect showers tomorrow. Both mean the same thing.
All right, very good. And, well, talking about showers and thunderstorms, there's also another type of water that falls from the sky. This is called hail.
Okay, so hail is difficult to describe because it's like ice, but it's not really. It's just usually hard, almost like marbles, like hard balls of rain that come down. So it's not snow.
That's right.
It hurts when it hits you. Sometimes it's very big, sometimes it's very small, but it's heavy, hard things that come out of the clouds.
Yeah, so just think about it. It's very, very similar to ice. It's the small pieces of ice coming down from the sky. So that's hail, but obviously very different from snow because, as we said, it's hard. Snow is very soft.
Yes.
And, well, with this type of weather going on the weekend, the commentator said, wow, that certainly sounds like a dreary Saturday.
Okay, dreary is a great word to describe it. So as you can tell, it's going to rain. Dreary is not a good thing. It's not a happy thing.
Okay.
So something is dreary when it's not very exciting. It looks like it'll be dull or sad or boring or dark.
Now, can you describe a person like this as well?
Yes, he's a very dreary person. He's never optimistic. He's always down and, kind of quiet and sad and down.
Boring.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it means. Something that's boring, not very exciting, or very calm.
But also dark. There's a dark element to it because something is
okay.
dreary. There's no sunshine, there's no light, there's no optimism.
So you can say it's a dreary day.
Yeah, very dreary day today. No light, no sunshine.
Okay, very good. We've taken a look at a lot of vocab there. Why don't we review what we've just learned and listen to the dialogue again?
And those are today's top stories. Now let's go to John for the weather. John, what does the forecast look like for our weekend travelers?
I'm afraid we're in for a rough weekend, Mary. There's a storm system moving through the East Coast. It will be drizzling all day today, and there's a 60% chance of thunderstorms this evening. It will be warm and humid all weekend. In the Midwest, expect strong winds and a low of around 40 degrees.
That's pretty chilly for the summer. Will it rain on Saturday?
Unfortunately, yes. It will be clear early Saturday morning, but there is a high chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the day. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for some parts of the southeast. Folks in those areas might see some hail and flooding, especially in areas that have been experiencing record-high rainfalls.
That certainly sounds like a dreary Saturday.
It gets better on Sunday, though. The storm systems move east and the skies will clear up at night. It will still be rather cool with highs in the low 50s. The west coast will be experiencing some unusually chilly weather, but at least the sun will come out. I advise weekend travelers to be careful, especially while driving. Back to you, Mary.
Thanks, John. And there you have it. Looks like it's a weekend to stay at home.
All right, we're back. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some phrases that we've chosen for you on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So when we're talking about forecasts, remember that we're talking about things that aren't certain. We have to explain that there is a possibility of rain or a possibility of sunshine. And usually in the weather report, they will use percentages to describe how likely something is to happen.
That's right. The weatherman said there is a 60% chance of thunderstorms.
Okay, so 60% is not very likely, but it's also not unlikely. It means that it might happen that it rains.
That's right. So as you said, it's a way to measure what the probabilities are. Because imagine if the weatherman says it might rain tomorrow, you're like, well, maybe it really will, or maybe it's very unlikely that it won't, or we don't really know.
Exactly. So for example, if the weatherman says there's a 95% chance of rain tomorrow, do you bring your umbrella?
Yes.
What if he says there's a 5% chance of rain tomorrow? No. So you have to think about the probability. 60%, it's maybe half and half, but 95%, it's very likely to happen.
That's right. And he also mentioned there's a high chance of thunderstorms, or maybe you can say there's a low chance of hail.
Right. So he's basically saying, he or she is basically saying, you know, it's possible that this will happen, or it's not likely this will happen. They're trying to help you out. They can't say this will happen because they don't know.
Okay, so the word for probability here, the key word is chance. There is a good chance that it will rain. So chance is probability.
Right. So, for example, what's the chance it will rain tomorrow? Well, there's a high chance.
Okay, very good. Okay, and now when we talk about the degrees, or the how warm or cold it is, So we express it in Fahrenheit in some countries, or in other countries in centigrade. Here we talk about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. But the weatherman also says highs and lows. There's a low of around 40 degrees. What does he mean, a low?
This is a really important part of the forecast, because you need to know, will you have to bring a coat tomorrow? Is it going to be hot or cold? And so you think about a day, usually during the day at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's the hottest. But at night, it's the coldest. And so the low refers to the lowest temperature, and the high refers to the highest temperature. So, for example, in the fall, maybe the highs are 60 degrees, but the lows are 40. So you should bring a coat.
Okay.
Means at night it'll be 40, and during the day it'll be 60.
Okay, so we're talking about the highs are the highest temperatures, or the highest number that we'll get, and the lows is the lowest. So the weatherman will commonly say, tomorrow we'll experience a high of 32 degrees and a low of 25.
Right. So it's very easy to understand that the temperature during the day will be between these two numbers.
Right. Very good. Okay. And for our last phrase, the weatherman also said that there is a severe thunderstorm warning for some parts of the southeast.
All right. So, Marco, this is a really key phrase, because it is it's telling people about potential danger. You know, a thunderstorm can be very dangerous, so you want to stay inside. So a severe thunderstorm warning, severe means very, very serious, is something you should pay attention to.
That's right. But now, the interesting thing is that we can change the noun, in this case, thunderstorm, and we can talk about, for example, a severe tornado warning.
All right, so if there's a severe tornado warning, then I really have to pay attention to the weather and be careful not to go outside. Or even a severe flood warning. You need to know that the streets might become flooded and prepare.
So they're saying that there's a very high probability that this might happen, so they're warning you to take precaution.
All right, so pay attention to that last one. And we're going to listen to today's dialogue one more time. We'll be back in a moment to talk a little bit more about the weather.
And those are today's top stories. Now let's go to John for the weather. John, what does the forecast look like for our weekend travelers?
I'm afraid we're in for a rough weekend, Mary. There's a storm system moving through the East Coast. It will be drizzling all day today, and there's a 60% chance of thunderstorms this evening. It will be warm and humid all weekend. In the Midwest, expect strong winds and a low of around 40 degrees.
That's pretty chilly for the summer. Will it rain on Saturday?
Unfortunately, yes. It will be clear early Saturday morning, but there is a high chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the day. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for some parts of the southeast. Folks in those areas might see some hail and flooding, especially in areas that have been experiencing record-high rainfalls.
That certainly sounds like a dreary Saturday.
It gets better on Sunday, though. The storm systems move east and the skies will clear up at night. It will still be rather cool with highs in the low 50s. The west coast will be experiencing some unusually chilly weather, but at least the sun will come out. I advise weekend travelers to be careful, especially while driving. Back to you, Mary.
Thanks, John. And there you have it. Looks like it's a weekend to stay at home.
All right, so talking about the weather, it always seems like the weatherman is always wrong.
Always. It's like the opposite of what should happen.
That's right.
But you can't blame them because all they have is a computer and some sensors, and they have to guess about the weather and help people figure out what to do.
Have you ever experienced anything severe like a hard thunderstorm or maybe a tornado or something like this?
I have, actually, because I'm from Chicago, and in America, the middle of the country is called the tornado belt. That means it's a piece of land where tornadoes are very common. And so in the fall and in the spring, we often have tornadoes, and I've been in a couple tornadoes myself.
Oh, wow. Have you seen them?
Yes.
Is it amazing to see?
They're very scary. You're always running inside and locking yourself in the basement. It's very important to protect yourself in a tornado because it's very dangerous around the area of the tornado because the wind is so strong that trucks and cars and telephone poles and big heavy objects can fly through the air and hurt people, and that's
right.
how most of the damage happens.
Okay, so this is interesting because a tornado is also considered a natural disaster.
Yes, it is.
But it's a weather phenomenon, whereas earthquakes are a natural disaster, but it's not part of the weather.
No, yeah, you're right. It's not something that it sweeps in and it leaves. Like a flood, for example, all of the rain will come down and it will create a flood. An earthquake is a natural disaster that's not weather related.
That's right. Okay, interesting thing. So maybe some of our listeners that live in a very cold area have experienced a heavy snowstorm.
Like a blizzard.
Like a blizzard. Or maybe people in a tropical area have experienced a hurricane. So let us know if you've ever been in one of these weather-related phenomenons. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Scared. Afraid. A light fall of rain. Drizzle. Fall of rain accompanied by lightning and thunder. Thunderstorm. Probability. Chance. Rain that is frozen into chunks of ice. Hail.
Let's try that faster.
Rain that is frozen into chunks of ice. Hail. Probability. Chance. A light fall of rain. Drizzle. Scared. Afraid. Fall of rain accompanied by lightning and thunder. Thunderstorm.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Afraid. The project is due tomorrow, but he just gave it to us this morning. I'm afraid we're in for a long night. Afraid. I'm sorry, I'm afraid you misunderstood me. Afraid. I'm afraid that I can't make it tonight. I've made other plans. Drizzle. It's drizzling outside, so you should take your umbrella when you go out. Drizzle. It's not raining hard, just a light drizzle. Drizzle. I like to drizzle some maple syrup on my pancakes. Thunderstorm. We planned to have a picnic in the park, but the weather report said there would be a thunderstorm today. Thunderstorm. My little sister is terrified of lightning. She always cries during the thunderstorms. Thunderstorm. It's dangerous to go out with an umbrella during the thunderstorm. Hail. There's a 70% chance of rain today, so it might not be the best day to go to the beach. Hail. You have a high chance of getting the job. The boss seems to like you. Hail. If you are careful and follow the rules, you have a very small chance of hurting yourself rock climbing. Hail. There is a chance that it will hail today, so we should stay inside. Hail. The last time it hailed, the roof of my car was badly damaged. Hail. It's hailing really badly outside. The hail is the size of tennis balls.
I'm Tom, and I'm happy you're here. In this episode, I speak slowly. I use clear, simple words. And I repeat ideas so you can shadow my voice, practice your speaking, and build your confidence step by step. Today, we will talk about how to describe your day in English. Not just short sentences, but full ideas. What do you do in the morning? What happens in your afternoon? What is your evening routine like? By the end of this episode, you will be able to talk about your day in English using clear and natural sentences. Let's begin. Why is it important to practice talking about your day in English? It's important because your day is real. It's something that happens to you every day. You know it well. You don't need to search for words or ideas. You don't need to talk about history, science, or politics. You just need to talk about your life. You can say what time you wake up, what you eat for breakfast. You can say if you go to work or stay at home. You can say how you feel, tired, busy, happy, or relaxed. And here's the best part. When you describe your own day, You're practicing real English, useful English, English that you can use with other people in real life. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to try. When you talk about your day, you begin to think in English. You begin to speak more naturally. You use simple, complete sentences. You stop translating in your head. And you feel more confident when speaking. Let's take an example. Imagine you are meeting someone new. They ask, "What did you do today?" What did you do today? If you've practiced talking about your day before, you can answer. You can say, "I woke up at 7. I went to work. I had coffee and answered emails. In the evening, I made dinner and watched TV." Now, that's a full conversation. That's real communication. And that is your goal. Even if you are alone, even if you're not in an English class, even if you are shy, you can still practice speaking English by talking about your day. So, whenever you don't know what to say, start with something simple. What did I do today? What time did I wake up? What did I eat? Where did I go? What did I do in the evening? These are good questions. They help you remember vocabulary. They help you build strong English habits. They help you think in full sentences without stress. You can do this in the morning to talk about yesterday. You can do this in the evening to review today. You can even record yourself and listen back. The key is to keep it simple. Use the English you know. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. 1 sentence today, 2 sentences tomorrow, a whole story next week. So today, let's build that skill together, step by step, word by word, one real sentence at a time. Okay, let's start at the beginning of the day, the morning. Morning is a very important part of your day. It sets the mood. It gives you energy. And it's a perfect time to speak and think in English, even for a few minutes. Now, let's practice some simple morning sentences together. Repeat each one slowly, just like shadowing. Let's go. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. Now you repeat. Sometimes I wake up earlier, around 6:30, when I have a lot to do. Now you repeat. If I sleep late, I feel tired the next morning. I stay in bed for a few minutes and think about my day. I like to take a deep breath and stretch my arms and legs. Then I sit up slowly and get out of bed. I walk to the bathroom and brush my teeth. I brush slowly and carefully for 2 minutes. Then I wash my face with cold water. It helps me feel awake. Sometimes I take a quick shower, especially if I feel sleepy. When I shower, I like to play soft music or listen to English audio. After my shower, I dry off and put on my clothes. I try to wear something clean and comfortable. Sometimes I wear jeans and a t-shirt. If I have a meeting or class, I wear something more formal. Next, I go to the kitchen and prepare my breakfast. I usually eat something simple, like toast, eggs, and fruit. Sometimes I have cereal with milk and a banana. If I have more time, I make an omelette or oatmeal. I like to eat slowly so I can enjoy my food. I drink coffee most mornings. Sometimes I drink green tea because it feels light and fresh. While eating, I sometimes watch a short video or check the news. Other days, I just enjoy the quiet and listen to birds outside. Before I leave the house, I check my phone. I look at the time and read my messages. I check my calendar to see if I have any meetings or appointments. I pack my bag with everything I need: my phone, notebook, keys, and water bottle. Then I put on my shoes and go out the door. Okay, let's shadow a story. My morning routine. In this part, I will tell you a short story about my morning. You can listen, then shadow each sentence. You can pause after each line to repeat it slowly. Are you ready? Let's begin. In the morning, I usually wake up at around 7 o'clock. Sometimes I wake up earlier if I have a lot of things to do. I lie in bed for a few minutes and think about the day ahead. I stretch my arms, yawn a little, and slowly get up. Then I walk to the bathroom and brush my teeth for 2 full minutes. After that, I wash my face with cold water. It really helps me wake up. If I feel sleepy, I take a warm shower. I often listen to relaxing music while I shower. It helps me feel more calm and focused. After the shower, I put on clean clothes and check my hair in the mirror. Next, I go into the kitchen and start making breakfast. I usually eat 2 pieces of toast with butter and jam, and sometimes I add a boiled egg. I drink a large cup of coffee. That's very important to me in the morning. While eating, I sit by the window and look outside. Sometimes I hear birds singing, and I enjoy the peaceful moment. Before I leave the house, I check my phone. I look at the time, my to-do list, and my schedule for the day. Then I prepare my bag. I make sure I have everything: my phone, my wallet, my notebook, and sometimes a snack. Finally, I put on my jacket and shoes, open the door, and step outside to begin my day. Okay, let's say a few final practice sentences together. Again, you can repeat right after me. Every morning is a little different, but I try to follow a good routine. When I start my day with English, I feel more focused. I'm proud of my progress, and I will keep going. Now let's move to the afternoon, the middle part of the day. Many people are busy in the afternoon. Some people go to work, some go to school, some stay home and take care of the house or family. Whatever you do, the afternoon is a good time to use English. Even if you're busy, you can still listen. You can still repeat. You can still practice, even for just 5 or 10 minutes. Let's learn some common sentences together. Try to repeat after me, slowly and clearly. After lunch, I go back to work. Sometimes I feel a little sleepy after I eat. I check my emails and answer the important ones first. I often read messages from coworkers or classmates. I usually have 1 or 2 meetings in the afternoon. Sometimes I meet with a client or my manager to talk about tasks. If I work from home, I sit at my desk and open my laptop. I type reports or prepare presentations. I also look at my calendar to see what I need to do next. I like to keep my desk clean and organized. It helps me think clearly. I usually take a short break around 3 o'clock. I make a cup of tea or drink some water. Sometimes I eat a small snack, like fruit or a biscuit. If I have time, I go for a short walk to get fresh air. Even 10 minutes outside helps me feel better. If the weather is nice, I walk around the block or sit in the sun. When I have free time in the afternoon, I study English. Sometimes I listen to a podcast while I take a walk. Other times, I read a short article or story online. I also watch slow English videos to help with listening. I repeat short phrases out loud to practice speaking. Shadowing helps me speak more fluently and clearly. Before I finish work, I write down what I did. This helps me stay organized and ready for the next day. Sometimes I write one new word I learned today. I like to review my English notebook before I stop for the day. I will now tell you a story about my afternoon. You can listen, pause, and repeat after me. Try to copy my rhythm and tone. This is a great way to shadow and learn. After lunch, I usually go back to my desk to continue working. I check my emails and write a to-do list for the afternoon. I often have a video meeting with my team. We talk about what we finished in the morning and what we will do next. The meetings are usually short, about 30 minutes. After the meeting, I take a short break. I walk to the kitchen and make a cup of tea or black coffee. I drink slowly while standing near the window. Sometimes I step outside for some fresh air. If I have free time, I use it to study English. I usually listen to a podcast like this one, or read a short story. Sometimes I watch a video where the speaker talks slowly. I pause the video and repeat the sentences. This is shadowing. It helps me speak more naturally and understand better. Before I stop working for the day, I write down a short summary of what I did. I also write one sentence in English to describe how I feel. For example, I finished all my work today and I feel proud. I didn't study much today, but I will try again tomorrow. This helps me reflect and stay motivated. Okay, now it's your turn. You can pause this episode for a moment. Try to talk about your afternoon, just like I did. What do you usually do after lunch? Do you go to work? Do you go to class? Do you stay at home and rest or study? Use short sentences. It's okay if it's just 3 or 4 lines. The goal is to speak, not to be perfect. Okay, let's try some sentence starters together to help you speak. I will say the beginning of the sentences and you try to complete them, okay? In the afternoon, I usually. Very good. After lunch, I like to. Good job. Sometimes I feel. Well done. I usually take a break at. Perfect. Before the afternoon ends, I. Very good. Okay. The evening and night. Evening is a special time, a time to relax and review the day. Let's repeat some useful sentences. I come home at 6 o'clock in the evening. I take off my shoes and sit down for a few minutes to rest. I sometimes watch the news or listen to music to relax. I cook dinner or I order food if I feel tired. I eat dinner at the table with my family. We talk about our day and share stories. After dinner, I clean the kitchen and wash the dishes. Sometimes, I go for a short walk after dinner. Before bed, I read a book or listen to calming music. I take a shower and brush my teeth. I go to bed around 10:30 or 11. Okay, you have just listened to my full routine. Now I want you to speak about your day. Here's how you can do it. First, think about your day. What time do you wake up? What do you eat for breakfast? Do you work, study, take care of the house? What do you do in the afternoon? What does your evening look like? What do you do before bed? You can speak about today, or you can talk about a typical day, a normal day. Great work today. You listened to a full diary routine. You practiced new vocabulary. You repeated full sentences. And most importantly, you tried to speak in English. This is real progress. You're not just studying English. You are using English. You are living in English, one sentence at a time. Keep building your confidence. Keep practicing your daily routine until it feels easy. Now, come back to this episode often. Listen again, shadow again, and each time add more to your story.